Okay, so I'm off to DC today, mainly for the cherry blossoms and some other personal things I need to get done, but something else popped up and I'm really excited for that today. This year WMATA is having their Fleet of the Future showcase, and I'm really excited to check out the prototypes for the 8000 series. But also, let's see what other cherry blossom season things that we can see from WMATA. I know there's also the special cards, as well as the wrap trains and buses. I don't expect to see the wrap trains or buses, but you know, if we can get one of those, that'd be really cool for today. Alright, I landed in DC and it's a rainy mess right now. In fact, the entire region between New York and DC was just being battered by heavy rainstorms all morning. And that made it worse for me because I really only had time to film in the morning when it was raining the heaviest. But that might not necessarily be a bad thing because that could also dissuade a lot of people from visiting the prototype that's on display at the National Mall. And that could also make it a little bit easier for me to get the shots I wanted with the cherry blossoms and trying to hunt for the cherry blossom train. And by the way, WMATA actually has a really cool live tracker feature that can actually allow you to search for the cherry blossom bus and the cherry blossom train. The fact that you can actually track these special edition vehicles using the live tracker is one of my favorite parts about WMATA. They took the initiative to add a small feature like this, and it makes a huge impact for riders because it shows riders that transit is more than just a means of getting from point A to point B, and it makes the idea of riding transit a lot more fun because people are now looking out for these special vehicles. But in this case, the tracker is really beneficial for me because the only other way I would find the cherry blossom train is by sitting at L'Enfant Plaza and praying that the train is not on the red line. But with that out of the way, we can now take a look at the cherry blossoms in the area. Starting with the Moynihan Lounge, there is a huge mural of the cherry blossoms. However, it's in pretty low resolution, especially considering how big the banner is. But I guess that could be a consolation if you never get to see the cherry blossoms in person. And staying on brand, there's even a huge cherry blossom market at Union Station. With how strong the rain is today, I don't think many people are actually coming out here to explore the cherry blossoms or the Fleet of the Future Expo. Yeah, I finally figured out the name. But yeah, you know, this is a good time to go actually because I don't think there are going to be many people here. And just as I hoped, there weren't any people inside. And walking in the tent, we can get our first look at what the future of the DC Metro looks like. And if you're wondering, why does this train look so small and weird? Well, that's because this is a mock-up and it's only meant to show the different elements of the train, and it's not a full-size version of what the train will actually look like. This helps cut costs while still getting the message through. So, like any other reasonable person in this situation, I went to the information pamphlets to see what the actual train would look like. And let me tell you, I was in for quite a shock. Looking at the main promotional image used for these cars, it looks like either it was poorly generated by AI or someone took two of the same images and slapped them together to make a train. The new trains are expected to be just like the old one, with 3 doors on each side, with the doors all equal distances apart. Starting from the front of the train, we can see these new Hitachi design rail cars introduce new visual elements to the trains, with the theme of the new train being hexagons. But just like the R211s and the M9s in New York, the 8000 series is also adding color. The next immediate thing that stands out are the fact that the windows on these trains are much larger than what you get on the 7000 series. This brings me back to the earlier fleet on the Metro that did have larger windows. But we ended up losing a lot of that window space on the newer 7000 series cars. These cars not only had a redesign, but were also jam-packed with new technology that prohibited the size of the windows. These new 2-piece windows are much more similar to what we see in the old fleet, and honestly, I'm all in for it. The next thing you'll notice immediately is the open gangway concept. The open gangway concept was actually inspired by the R211Ts here in New York. One of the key differences between what you'll see in New York and what you'll see in DC is the fact that these sets are different sizes. In New York, the open gangway train runs in 2 5-car sets. DC, on the other hand, will use 4 2-car sets to make a full-length train. So that means you'll only be able to walk into the train car adjacent to you, and that's about it. If you were expecting to be able to walk through a full 6 or 8 car train, prepare to be disappointed. Walking onto the train, the first thing that catches my eye is the new digital wayfinding. These new digital screens makes it easier for passengers who are standing or are outside the train to easily view where their train is going. Currently, passengers who want to see where their train is going will have to go inside the train to see the next stop display. Just like the 7000 series, trains will be in 2-car sets with a full cab in one end and a set of operating controls on the other end. Trains will also be equipped with large spaces that can accommodate multiple bikes, strollers, and wheelchairs. Another new accessibility upgrade are massive new screens. Some of these new screens are so big you'd expect to see it in someone's living room. Another big change is taking forward and backward facing seats and changing them into aisle facing seats. Surprisingly, this new design only eliminates 1 seat. But the hope is, along with the open gangway, that this new seating layout will allow for a lot more people to stand on the car, increasing the total number of passengers that can be carried by a single train. Though, in my personal opinion, I don't feel like capacity is really that big of an issue in DC. Even though I don't ride the Metro every day, full trains in DC are actually pretty rare. It's usually because one train is late and the next train is right behind it. Another change in the seats is the fact that there's this pair of seats with a shorter back now. These seats were intentionally lowered just to allow kids to look out the window. However, anyone can sit there. And lastly, the favorite part, the train cab, which we're actually allowed to go into, and we can pretend like we're driving the train. Okay, if you ever wanted to be a train driver or pretend to be the train driver, this is the way to do it, and it looks really fun. There's a whole mock-up. You could just sit here, pretend like you're the driver, you're driving the train. Great place to take pictures. Looks really fun.
There's a window here, so you can look through here and look at the operator.
towards the exit of the tent, we have the new seats for the 8000 series. Now at first glance they look very similar to what you get on the 7000 series trains, but these seats are actually a little bit softer than what you get there. The seats on the 7000 series tend to be very firm, and they tend to get quite a bit uncomfortable for long journeys. Older trains on the other hand have really plush seats, but they come at the downside of not having much back support. These new seats seem to be trying to go somewhere in the middle. I'm hoping these will be an improvement from the existing seats on the 7000 series. And lastly, to round it off, they had some goodies for you to take home. This included paper cutout trains, coloring books, and stickers. They also had their electric bus out for people to walk through and take a look at. However, from my experience, almost every New Flyer bus is the exact same. The electric bus that they have here is basically the same one that they have in New York City and the rest of the country. I'm really excited that I got to see these trains today, and I can't wait till 2025 when they're expected to be in service.